Right, you talk. Oh, I'm good. They can hear me now. Wow. Yeah, that's all good. They should be able to. Shalini says, not tech issues again. It's not so much tech issues as holiday Wi-Fi issues, and I will say, I may be able to sort it if it goes really choppy because I've been having a bit of a bit of an issue with the Wi-Fi, haven't I, John? It's weird because they sold me Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi they sold me expired. Um, and then I tried to buy new Wi-Fi, and they were like, "No, you can't buy new Wi-Fi," and then just let me continue on the Wi-Fi. So it's very odd. But if it does go down, I can simply quickly buy a new Wi-Fi package on a different email address, and we'll be straight back up. But with that out of the way, let me just turn that off, turn that on, and you should be able to see the big guy himself right now, who can introduce our little show.
Good evening, one and all, to Chasing Dissent, episode 96.
96.
On the road to 100.
On the road again.
And welcome from me, the man in the van, now hunkering in the bunker, and from Ben, somewhere in an undisclosed location.
Look, I've got blue curtains and everything. You can't see shit. You got no idea where I am. Now,
how posh are you?
Now we've got a couple of things, couple of things to get out of the way. I believe people wondered
housekeeping.
I'd say so, and it's just quick addressing of Sunday night, and number 96 obviously not happening then. So I don't really know what I want to say. John, how much do you think I should say?
It's up to you. It's up to you, but I wouldn't say too much.
No.
I would say that there had been an incident, and as a result of that incident, then certain things will be occurring.
Yes, there was an incident that left me incapacitated, shall we say?
Bruised and battered almost.
Bruised. Look at that. Look. I don't know if you can see that, but bruised and battered, and
looks very much like someone has grabbed you on the arm with strong fingers.
Someone's done far more than that.
They look like classic fingerprint bruises.
Yeah, it was far more than that. And I was unable to contact anybody for 24 hours, around about, maybe a bit longer than that. And I when I was finally able to, I found a message from John going basically, what the fuck is going on? We're supposed to be doing a show. This is unprofessional. And I'm like, I called him and I explained.
Well, I didn't actually say it was unprofessional.
Do you want me to read the message?
No, don't read the message.
I was going to say you actually did. And
okay.
Then when John discovered what had actually occurred, he was extremely apologetic for that, weren't you, John?
Well, you it was. Let's just say that generally the circumstances of it were beyond your control.
Oh yeah, I mean I think that's an understatement, but yeah.
I think that's all right now. That's bizarre. It's just started.
Well, no idea, man. But basically, yeah, I will say I was assaulted, quite viciously assaulted, and it's being dealt with. That's all I'll say at the moment. It's being dealt with. I don't want any sympathy. I don't want anybody to go any deeper into that for now, but we will at some point, believe me. But for legal reasons, because of the retaliation / response on legal grounds from myself, I don't want to go any further into it, but I am okay. I'm absolutely fine, and I'm ready to have a laugh at the news. So John, with that, how are you?
So did anyone lose a stream there, or was it just me?
No, everyone says they're fine.
Shalini says pissed off with Virgin.
Well, I don't know. We could be going up and down. I'm not sure. But
well, Virgin seems to be going up and down for me because it went down earlier today, and that's twice it's been down today. Just for seconds. But I don't like this because every time it reconnects, it connects at 20 meg up, which isn't great because it's always 50.
Okay.
I'm not a happy bear. Not a happy bear. But anyway,
Well,
we have a new feature tonight, don't we?
If there are tech issues tonight, please be aware that once again they're kind of out of control. We can kind of fix it, but we're recording it so we can put the show up in its lovely glory. So yes, we do have a new feature, and with that in mind, John, stay silent for the next 50 seconds. Hold on, actually, I have to do something first, and then do that, and then John.
You brought down the right list, didn't you?
Just be quiet and...
Okay.
And that's the list. Let's dig in.
There we go. There we go. So, the first thing on the list was the Lady of Heaven.
Before you get into it, I've just been seeing the comments on that video as it was going. Adam, is this mind control? This is some Mancunian candidate level skullduggery. Shalini said she was raping on the sofa, trying to brainwash them. I think they enjoyed that.
Did you like that?
I think they did. I'm
pleased.
So I still don't actually know what's on the list. He just sent me that video and said, that's the list, put it out. And I said, okay. But yeah, I hope that played well. I probably did. But John, yes. Now.
Yes. So,
go.
The Lady in Heaven. Or the Lady of Heaven. Okay.
Right.
So I haven't seen it, much like I never saw The Last Temptation of Christ and all that. But it's going down the same route, except our ethnic brethren, who have something like 3% of the population, have decided that it shall not be shown in England. It shall not be shown.
Yeah, and
they've been blockading and protesting outside cinemas.
Yeah, and
cinemas that you would even go to, like Cineworld.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't understand, and like Shalini says in the chat here, Cineworld have actually banned the film. They're not. They've said they're not going to show it.
Yeah, they've pulled it. Yeah.
So they've bowed to intimidation and political pressure and threats and terrorism. But and I will say it is terrorism, right? Because you've
domestic.
It's domestic terrorism in a sense, because they've used force, threats, intimidation to push a political agenda, and out of fear, the cinema have banned it. And it's not out of fear of a boycott; it's out of fear that these people that are making threats are going to violently trash their premises, right?
Yeah.
And also, like Vaughan says in the chat here, so the Lady of Heaven was actually, I believe, made by Shia Muslims, or at least under heavy guidance from Shia Muslims, and in fact Shia Muslim scholars, and
the Shia ones the ones that are normally more violent?
I honestly couldn't tell you, but it is only the Sunnis that are upset, not the Shia. But it's so...
Who kills? It's censorship. That's what it is.
But it's so draining, isn't it? Because censoring one thing opens the door for more censorship, doesn't it? It's a slippery slope. You see that, right? So this particular group, this particular interest group. It doesn't have to be religious. It doesn't have to be anything really. But a particular interest group has used terroristic tactics to get their way, and it has worked. Now, other groups are going to look at that and go, well, there's something we don't like. And it doesn't have to be directed at the cinema. It can be directed at any institution, any individual, in fact. We don't like you doing this, so we're going to make threats. We're going to harass you. We're going to intimidate you. And I don't know how much further we could or couldn't go. You know, we could actually escalate to violence. And if you don't do what we want. And they're gonna now think that they have the right to do that. Book burning, censorship, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't work. It doesn't help anybody. It's a slippery slope, and we can't support it. And you know what? So what if people are offended by this flick? So what?
Yeah.
You do not have the right in a free and liberal society to not be offended. I'm sorry, but you don't. You don't have that right.
And but see, this is the problem, because governments are giving people that right to not be offended. Look at Scotland. It's crazy.
It's terrifying, John. It
terrifying. Can't work. It just can't work. This is not a route you can go down and still have a free society.
No, any society that goes down this route is no longer a liberal and free society. They're not. They're LARPing as a liberal and free society.
Yeah. Right, moving on, shall we?
Yeah, let's move swiftly on.
Quickly. Yeah, very quickly. Germany says up to 1 in 100 may have died.
Right.
From something.
From the coup?
No.
So are you talking about from a certain little trait?
I'm just saying that up to 1 in 100 might have died. Imagine that. That's a big thing for people to come out with.
Yeah, but who's actually come out with this?
Yes, well, I have the details, but I don't have them to hand.
This doesn't help.
I've been editing all day.
To be fair, you're doing good with them little shorts. I'm enjoying them.
Those little shorts take forever to do.
Well, it took almost 6 hours to recut the golf video.
Yeah.
I think I created a wonderful video out of that.
Moving on and staying with the old the Germans for a minute. Lewis Hamilton says he liked the rainbow logo on his Mercedes, and that maybe we should just keep it all the time and not just for Pride Month. I wonder when Lewis is actually going to come out, because this boy is definitely in the closet.
That's John's opinion for legal reasons. Yeah, that's John's opinion for legal reasons. But no.
Come out, wherever you are.
You know what? Lewis, it's me. It's Papa Ben. I'm talking to you now. I don't give two shits whether you keep a rainbow on your car. I don't care if you're gay or not, right? You want a rainbow on your car, you put a rainbow on your car. It doesn't have to be a political statement. You think a rainbow looks pretty on your car? Then you keep that rainbow on there, Lewis. You enjoy that rainbow.
So, moving on, because we've got quite an extensive list and limited time.
Yes, we're trying to limit the show to 90 minutes.
I'm going to tell you a story.
Oh, I'm going to make you big screen.
So let's go back in time to 1869. 1869. Okay.
So last week.
And imagine you're bored of an evening and you think, what shall I do to entertain myself? And you think, I shall get some coal. So you get the coal out and you stoke the fire off your small steam engine.
Right.
So you then get some water and put it in a boiler and you set the coal on fire and you start to produce steam. And this small steam engine.
Yeah.
And you think, this is good. We're starting to build up a head of steam.
Mm-hmm.
And then you push the valve and the pistons start to fire off. So it's going in and out, like pistons on steam engines do. And this, my man, is the world's first automatic fucking machine. If you slow down the list, you'll get a picture of it.
I did see it. I did see it.
Can you imagine? Oh, I'm in the mood for some shenanigans. I shall go fetch me some coal, Papa.
To be fair,
imagine as you I should have kept going with my story, but imagine as you go down an old board and back slowly onto the little machine that's going chuff, chuff, chuff.
To be fair,
like the little machine that could.
To be fair,
yes,
families back then were so much bigger. And the reason they were so much bigger, the real reason they were so much bigger is because they didn't have TV, right? They didn't have YouTube. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have these things. Yep. So couples would be sitting at home of an evening. They didn't even have fucking Monopoly, right? So they'd be sitting at home of an evening going, oh dear, we're absolutely terribly bored. We could
have read.
You know how they solved that boredom, John? They had sex. Lots and lots of sex.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. Anyway, there you go. I just started to throw that one in because I came across
Spencer
it.
says in the chat.
I didn't literally come across it. I just stumbled across it, shall I say?
So Spencer says in the chat, is that where the phrase steamy comes from?
Possibly.
As in, it's getting steamy in.
Right. Why do you want to boo his channel on YouTube? I don't understand.
What?
Anyway.
No, she said, oh my god, boo. She calls Vaughn boo.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Moving on. Sir Tony Blair, with 1.5 million confirmed enemies because they said he shouldn't get it, got it. He got the highest honor he could.
Yeah.
Order of the Garter. And didn't he look a smug yet when he got it as well?
Not only did he look a smug yet, he managed to just look like a twat, right?
Yeah. He did that.
He was dressed in that fucking robe or whatever it was, and I thought, you just look.
Be trying not to swear as well.
Yeah, no, I'm trying not to swear as well, but it's sometimes, twat I think is acceptable, especially in this circumstance,
yes,
right?
It wasn't the twat, it was the word you put before the robe, which started with an F.
No, I didn't even.
And ended with ing.
It just rolled off the tongue, John. It just rolled off the tongue.
It did.
But
just like the little engine that could. I'd like to set that on Tony. That's what he deserves.
But didn't he just look ridiculous?
Yes,
I mean,
he did. He looked ill-fitting robes at that.
Yeah, I have absolutely. I'm indifferent because you give this man this honor, right? And what does it even mean these days? What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything, right? We don't care if you're a sir or you're a madam. Once again, Tony, you're still a twat. You're still a war criminal.
Does he get a seat? Does he get a seat in the House of Lords?
I'm not sure sirs do. I think
Which
lords
comes with
do.
A stipend.
I'm pretty sure it's lords that do. He's not a lord. He's not Lord Tony Blair, right?
His wife certainly was trolling him by wearing last century's curtains.
Yeah. So Spencer says in the chat, was his wife trolling him by looking like she was wearing curtains from the 1990s? And yes,
I don't even know. They did look like curtains. They were awful. Just awful.
He just looked so smug, like you say. But how can you seriously look smug when you're dressed like that? I'm just saying.
He still did it though, and he
Yeah.
had a horrible sneer on his face at one point as well.
He did.
He's just a horrible, evil-looking individual. I just have no time for the man.
Yeah.
And
So
he should not be embedded anywhere except possibly in a nice plot of ground.
So I don't know if anybody can notice, I'm kind of hunched over tonight, and that's because I can barely lift my friggin' shoulders. So I'm just sort of leaning on the desk. But I have been swimming these last 2 days, John, and that's been very,
That's
very,
good.
very good. Because I get in there and I'm not
Ever
really.
been to SeaWorld?
Yeah, I've been to SeaWorld.
Seen Shamu? Did you recreate it? Right. Moving swiftly on. These new royals seem to have they seem to not quite understand the function of the royalty. Because they keep
There's a
speaking out,
function
like
of the
Prince
royalty?
Charles is, yeah, well, the function is to keep your fucking mouth out of politics.
Yeah.
Because Prince Charles is butting into things, and that other clown, the baldy younger one,
William.
Catherine's, yeah, William, he's butting into things as well. Do they not understand that their place is to shut up and take the money? So if they're going to want to be involved in things, then possibly we should just, well, I think we should get them out of the place anyway. Let's just give it.
Well, yeah, if they want to be
Let's pick them
involved,
up.
if they want to be involved politically and they want to be politically active, then
Go and get elected.
go and get elected. Absolutely. I tell you what. Let's look at Meghan for a minute. Not so much Harry, but let's look at Meghan. Yeah.
Okay.
Meghan is, in my opinion, she's a woke idiot, right? But she's got a base. She's got a bunch of woke idiots that love her. They do. They absolutely love. I don't understand why. This is the woman that gave sex workers bananas with inspirational quotes written on them. She gave sex workers bananas with inspirational quotes written on them, unironically. This is the woman who went on a tour of Africa, starving people, impoverished villages, and said, "But what about me? What about how I feel?" But still, this woman has a fan base. So,
and she turned up at Uvalde with a press crew, didn't she?
yes, but listen.
Filming her as she put the tribute to the fallen children.
What she is going to do, she is not going to renounce her titles, right? She's not going to renounce her titles. And I believe very soon she will run for either Congress or Senate in the United States. She is going to run for office. That's my prediction. A prediction I'm making here on Chasing Dissent.
Well, hey, let's face it, we're not often wrong.
This woman is going to run for office. She's gonna try and get politically involved, but not in our politics. And it's probably a little bit of a well. First of all, it's not just if she keeps her titles in doing so, then technically speaking, the royal family of Great Britain are meddling in the political affairs of the United States. But
yeah, well that's true.
But she's gonna.
The Queen hasn't stripped her of the titles.
No, they're still the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They're still the Sussexes.
Right, okay.
And as someone who lives in Sussex,
they're not. Yeah.
Yeah, they still.
So even though they're not.
They're still called the Sussexes. They've still got the titles. They are just pure and utter poison. Those two. Well, I say those two. I think Harry is just maybe in my opinion, I can't prove this, but an abuse victim.
Yeah, I think he might be.
Yeah, I think he's the next Johnny Depp, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he could well be.
You watch some of his videos and you think it's a hostage negotiation. You think it's a hostage situation. He's like,
remember the hand signal.
Yeah, she's just Harry, off camera.
Harry, remember the hand signal.
She's just off camera going. You better do this right, Harry. Harry, you better do this right.
So, do you know of the Bacon Army?
Sounds delicious.
So, the Bacon Army are apparently people who go around supermarkets selecting bacon and ham and things like that and putting them on the halal shelves.
We shouldn't laugh at that, to be honest, but
I think it's freaking hilarious.
it's funny.
Because apparently, after even though the bacon is wrapped in vacuum sealed packets or whatever, that's it. The halal meat is now tainted and cannot be sold as halal. So it all has to be cleared, the place disinfected, and then more halal meat put out, and then the Bacon Army strikes again. So I think that's quite humorous. I think that's a particularly English way of going about things.
Well, yes, it's very, very funny. I'm against all forms of religious ritual slaughter, right?
Especially when it's effectively cruel to animals, isn't it?
Yeah, and believe me when I say I'm not animal rights activist in any way, shape, or form. And not only that, I'm also not singling out one religion. Kosher is just as bad, right? Religious ritual slaughter with unnecessary pain and suffering there's no point in it. There's no need for it. And it's cruel and barbaric, especially in this day and age, right? We're not going to get over the fact that I would say a vast majority of people on the planet eat meat. Vast majority of people on the planet eat meat.
Yeah.
That's not going to change no matter how much people want it to, right? It's not. They could try and force the change, but people are people and they will work out their own way to do things.
Yeah.
But if it
was particularly... Sorry. I was
going to say, as our population continues to increase, and currently it is, the rate of increase is slowing, but it's continuing to increase. But as our population continues to increase, and the livestock needs to increase in order to match demand, more and more and more religious, unethical, inhumane slaughter is inevitably going to occur. And for what? Now, like I said, we can simply turn a blind eye, or we can say, let's accept that the vast majority of the people on the planet wish to eat meat and get certain nutrients from meat that they could probably only otherwise get from supplements, right?
Yeah.
So let's at least make sure that the animals that are being killed to fulfill that quota are killed in as humane a way as possible.
Humanely. Yeah.
And
yeah, why not? I mean, and actually, this leads us into the next item on the list, which is takes us to Ukraine, which is having difficulty.
Haven't been there for a while.
Grain. Yeah, so it's having difficulty shipping out its grain.
Right.
I don't think it's to do with anything that Russia's doing. I think it just seems to be Ukraine don't really have the will to ship out grain and nowhere to store it. So it's looking like there's going to be a shortage of grain because, for all its faults, Ukraine was always known as the bread basket of the world. It did produce an awful lot of grain. Now, this is where Islam hasn't really thought this through because they eat things like beef, lamb, right? They don't eat the pork, the pig, you know.
No, they don't.
Now the problem is most of your beef and lamb feeds or sheep feeds are all grain based. Whereas pigs will eat almost anything.
They will
You
eat
can
anything.
fucking feed a pig anything and it'll eat it. It's an
You
omnivore.
could you could feed a pig the carcass of another pig and it would eat it happily.
So if there's going to be a shortage of meat, it's going to be beef and lamb. It's not going to be pork.
But I'm not
The
gonna.
bacon army is going to be Quince in.
So I'm not gonna lie. I very much enjoy beef and lamb. In fact, a lamb leg is probably one of my favorite cuts of meat.
Lamb is definitely my favorite.
Absolutely wonderful. But tonight at dinner, in fact, I had roasted pork loin. It was it was so tender. It was so nice, and it was melt in the mouth. And
yeah, I think what happened in the past was your mum always used to overcook pork because they had this thing about parasites in it.
Yeah,
and really, they went too far, and you ended up chewing this grey thing that once resembled a chop.
Well, when my son was 2 years old, I went to a Toby Carvery, and the pork was very pink, and I picked up cryptosporidium from the pork.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying you don't cook it, but what I'm saying is you don't need to make it, grey. You don't need to have it with the texture of leather.
No, it can be a bit pink.
Use a little bit of Well, it could be a bit pink, but I still like
a little bit pink.
Cooked.
In America, they're all bets are off when it comes to pork. They'll give you all pink pork. It's oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's when you get pink chicken that you really need to start worrying.
Yeah. I would never eat pink chicken. In fact, my father-in-law, he's on holiday with us. He told us a story today, actually. He said he was cooking a barbecue, and he had part-cooked 100 chicken legs, in the oven, ready to finish off on the barbecue.
And somebody came up and ate one.
It's worse. It's way worse.
Oh, no.
So the people he was with were so stoned that they refused to wait for him to cook it on the barbecue and just ate the lot. They munched their way through it. And it all ended up with severe food poisoning. After he told them to not eat the chicken.
Chickens generally carry salmonella, don't they?
Absolutely. I mean, he told them repeatedly not to eat the chicken. And they were like, oh, I've got munchies. Hungry. And they ate the chicken. And more for them. At the end of the day, more for them.
Oh dear. Anyway, so the Pentagon has confirmed a conspiracy theory.
Again?
They have confirmed that there were 46 US funded biolabs in Ukraine, but they were doing it for good. they weren't doing it for evil reasons. They were doing it for good. They were just working on loads of different things for your health and for your safety. Says the Pentagon of the most warlike nation in the world. Just remember, 202 military incursions on foreign soil since 1945.
Jesus
That's not bad because there's only 196 countries in the world.
Oh dear.
Team America, world please.
I've got no words, man. I've got no words. If that is the case, and I would obviously need to see the proof of that.
Oh yeah, well, there's plenty out there.
Okay, if that is the case,
French farming.
French farming.
French farmer.
Right.
Takes telecoms company to task for harming his cows with their 4G masts.
With their 4G masts.
With their 4G masts, and gets a court order. They are now turned off. He said he had something like 12 cows out of his 40 held flock. No, held of his 40 held die because of the 4G, and the masts have been turned off by a court.
Yeah,
I think to see if any more cows get ill or if they get better.
So have they basically
that's-
asked them to turn it off as an experiment to see if it actually is the 4G?
I think so, but it's quite interesting.
Well, it is interesting. Absolutely, it is. And obviously, you know, we got all the people that say this and that about 4G, 5G, what it could do to you or is doing to you. Unfortunately, I've still not seen any real evidence, because the only evidence that was ever put out about 5G was actually about something else and attributed to 5G. I forget what it was actually about.
Yeah. Have you seen the growing watercress thing?
No.
In the presence of well, they'll have a look at that. There's a couple of people growing watercress in the presence of a Wi-Fi router and another one in a Faraday cage away from it, to show you the difference. And it does appear to make a difference to watercress. Watercress, humans, there's a big difference, but hey, you never know.
You never know, indeed. And like I say, the jury's out as far as I'm concerned. There are people that firmly believe and strongly believe that the 5G is doing this, that, and the other. And I'm not going to say they're wrong. I can't say they're wrong. But there are also people who believe it's going to do nothing at all to you. And I think those people are probably not helping.
Well,
because the reason I say they're not helping is because nothing in this world is perfectly safe. Nothing. So anyone that says something is perfectly safe is probably lying to you.
Anyway, moving on. Footage from inside the Capitol building on the 6th of January, 2021.
Yeah.
Has revealed that people were let in, they were invited in.
They were.
They were shown where to go.
They were.
Certain individuals that are giving testimony are on camera and helping people out.
Yeah.
So there's another. My God, it's another conspiracy theory gone.
There was no insurrection on January the 6th, and I'm quite happy to say that definitively. The mainstream news companies and the Democrats can say that was an insurrection. It was not an insurrection. It was a heavily influenced by, I imagine, security services operation in order to try and blame then President Donald Trump for causing a riot at the Capitol. Whereas if anybody actually watches the speech by Donald Trump, he says, you know, go peacefully to the Capitol and make your voices heard. He does not say go and enter the Capitol building. He does not say do an insurrection. And let's talk about May last year. Was it last year or was it this year? I'm not sure. But when a bunch of leftist protesters quite literally tried to invade the White House and partially burnt down the president's church. And
was that was last year, wasn't it?
I think so. It was May last year. I think it was George Floyd protesters, wasn't it? I could be wrong. But there was certainly leftist protesters who literally tried to siege the White House. They tried an actual insurrection. They caused actual criminal damage, and all that happened on January 6th was that for the most part, a bunch of people went for a little jolly up in the Capitol, took some photographs of themselves, and then walked out. An overzealous security guard shot and killed Ashley Babbitt, but but that wasn't the protesters. The protesters got blamed for deaths which they had nothing to do with. And you can see from some of the recordings, of the night before. There's a man that's continually walking around and saying to these people the night before, we should go into the Capitol tomorrow. And he's continually going up to groups of people. And he's very clearly some kind of security services dressed up as a protester, right? And he's simply...
some kind of instigator.
Some kind of instigator/agitator. And it's very clear. And I imagine that what happened that day was completely orchestrated, was completely designed, was completely... it was bullshit. There was no insurrection, in my view.
Yeah.
like I said, when you actually look what they're doing in there, are they rioting? Are they smashing the joint up? No, they're walking around taking fucking selfies. And also, there are fucking, excuse my language, but there are Antifa Black Bloc protesters who have been photographed in Trump hats inside the Capitol. Right? These people were agitating. They were not Trump supporters. They were Black Bloc Antifa protesters. Photographed, identities confirmed.
And none of them were prosecuted.
None of those ones were, no. And none of the people like the gentleman that was going around saying we should go into the Capitol. He wasn't prosecuted.
Yeah.
He wasn't prosecuted. He wasn't even identified. It's very interesting, that, isn't it? And I've seen
duggery afoot.
Well, there is, because I've seen the agitation firsthand inside of the anti-lockdown protests. I've seen the agitators. I've seen them try and start things. I've seen them almost commit violence themselves in order to try and get others to. I mean, I quite literally watched two pick up horse shit. And we were outside Downing Street, and two of them picked up horse shit and went around to everybody else and went, look what we've got. Wouldn't it be funny if you all picked it up and started throwing it at the police too? And I live streamed them. I was going, these two are clearly agitators. I've never seen them at a protest before. Never seen them there. They're on my stream. I've seen this type of behaviour, this agitation. It is real and it does happen.
What does your t-shirt say?
My shirt. It's Negan.
Yeah.
Negan from Walking Dead.
I've no idea.
Have you not got that far in The Walking Dead?
I've given up.
You've given up?
Lost interest.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cleared that one up.
Did you think so many times?
Did you think it said vegan?
I was wondering.
Do you think I should get?
Maybe it was ironic.
Do you think I should get a T-shirt that says vegan?
Yeah.
Look,
that I like meat.
I'm vegan.
I should get a T-shirt that says vegan and then go and eat like the biggest burger or steak you can find.
I got 100% vegan written on my T-shirt, and then I'm just sitting there eating an XL bacon double cheeseburger from Burger King.
And then on the back, only at the weekends.
No, not even at the weekends.
Okay, well, not even at the weekends.
No. I think the small print should be between 05:24 and 05:28 on Wednesday mornings.
Yeah. That would probably be okay. Right, moving on. So the New York Times reports that the Azov Battalion has rebranded its insignia.
Oh, right.
It's taken away those things that look like lightning strikes.
Right.
That maybe reminded us of something else from the past, okay?
I think that was intentional.
Apparently, of course it was intentional, but apparently Russian propagandists have been making a meal out of it. Oh, really?
So what you're telling me is Russian news outlets have been calling Nazis Nazis.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And saying, look at these, and then pointing to their Nazi-inspired insignias and saying, look, they're clearly Nazis. And then all of a sudden,
now look at them. Look at the mental gymnastics that these people have to do to justify, what they're saying about what are effectively Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, I sent John a picture earlier in the week, didn't I? And there was a guy, apparently a local in the Donetsk region, a local looking at a destroyed van, and this photo was absolutely real. I went on Reuters myself, screenshotted this myself, zoomed in on it. He's got a massive effing swastika tattooed on his arm. He's got a massive, and this is a local in the Donetsk region, just a local.
He's Azov.
Well, he's got to be, hasn't he? He's got to be. Massive it was. Massive swastika on his bulging bicep. And Reuters just captions it. A local surveys a damaged van. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
He even had an armband.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway, but Russia have done a couple of things. One, they've sent a tweet, or sorry, they've sent a letter to the UK Prime Minister saying that he really needs to fucking buck up and take responsibility for his actions, and they've detailed the list of the amount of people, civilians that have been killed as a result of increased Ukrainian shelling of the Donbass.
Right.
Says an actual war.
I don't know. And do you know what the thing is? If it is an actual war, right? If we're at war, we are going to get dragged into it because our prime minister is.
It's coming back to us, isn't it?
Well, our prime minister is chomping at the bit to drag us into this war. Mm-hmm. Anything and everything he can do. He's doing everything he can to try and drag us into this bloody war. And
yeah, I know.
If I'm sorry, but if you thought that Boris Johnson was incompetent or whatever on the coup, right? He's gonna do it again because he's gonna drag us into a war based upon a very very shaky reasons, and I say that because. Well,
yeah. The thing that gets me is the public are actually behind them.
Yeah, the public love Vladimir, don't they?
They've just not looked at what goes on in Ukraine. I mean, it's not in the top 3 of the world's child porn suppliers for nothing.
And that is actually true.
That's true, yeah.
It is true.
It's in the top 3. And all this stuff about Hunter Biden and John Kerry's son and Pelosi's son, and I always forget the other guy, but there was 4 of them there, all had big jobs in companies in Ukraine, all basically doing nothing because they're just churning money.
Yeah. Corruption is an understatement when it comes to Ukraine, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are documentaries. Even the mainstream media would talk about the Nazis in Ukraine. They would talk about the Nazis in Ukraine before all of this happened.
BBC did a special on it.
Yeah, and now they'll say to you, "You're a conspiracy theorist if you believe there are Nazis in Ukraine."
Yeah.
They don't. They've got no self-awareness whatsoever, do they? None whatsoever. Shalini says the public are fucking brainwashed and that's why they love Zelensky. But Zelensky's doing these propagandistic things, isn't he? Like he'll appear at awards ceremonies and go, "You play your music tonight. And you'll think of our musicians who cannot play their instruments but must, comrade, they must wear their flak jackets." It's sick.
But they're not wearing their flak jackets at the beach, are they?
They're not wearing their and not only that, they're not wearing their flak jackets when they appear on Eurovision Song Contest and win with one of the worst pieces.
Yeah, but they're flocking to the beaches because the weather's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
and nobody appears to be giving them any hassle. That's not a country at war. You don't spend your time at the beach when you're out fighting a war, do you?
I'm about 40 foot from the beach right now, and I haven't been there since Monday. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I live a few hundred feet from the beach, so the beach doesn't really interest me. It might mean I take it for granted, but I've had such a good time. I mean, John will tell you actually. Usually when I go away, I still talk a lot in our chats and stuff like that. I've not been talking at all.
Oh, yeah.
I've been enjoying my time away with my kids, and this holiday that we're on was actually gifted to us by my father-in-law. He's only just recently come back into my wife's life, and he's trying to make it up to not just her, the kids as well, and he's doing a good job. It's not just bringing us on holiday, but he's putting in a lot of time, he's putting in a lot of effort, and he's doing a good job. So I can't fault that at all. Yeah. And obviously, I think everybody deserves a second chance in life. And if he's going to consistently if he's going to consistently act the way he has been acting recently, my kids are in safe hands as far as a consistent family member goes. So, yeah. But it's...
Speaking of children,
Yep.
right? Speaking of children,
Yep.
kids in the US, their deaths from drug and alcohol
Yeah.
between the ages of 0 and 17 have doubled in the last 2 years.
That doesn't surprise.
Doubled.
That doesn't surprise or shock me, John.
Yeah,
That
well,
doesn't.
It's not particularly surprising. It's not particularly shocking, but it's horrific.
Yeah, but it
So
doesn't.
Those deaths have doubled.
It is horrific, but at the same time, so many people are desensitized to such things now because, let's face it, every single person on this planet that experienced a lockdown or something like that knows what damage it did to their kids. Knows what damage it did to their kids. I mean, places like Sweden, not so much. They kept their kids in school. But they took away all of their social development. They took away their education. Yeah. They took away their fun. They took away
their friends, didn't they?
They took away their childhoods. They took away their childhoods. And not just that, they took away their humanity. Right? They took away all of our humanity. They took away our humanity when we couldn't do basic things such as giving someone a hug, holding a door open for somebody, standing near your friend, right?
Yeah.
And for kids who are learning to socialize, kids who are maybe they've just found that friendship group, or they've just got that first girlfriend or that first boyfriend, and all of a sudden everything is ripped away from them and they're told they must stay in perpetual isolation for up to 2 years. I'm surprised it didn't go up by 10 times.
Yeah.
I am surprised it only doubled.
So there was and there's a clip of it on the list, right? There's a paper published in the National Medical Library or something like that,
right?
Saying that basically long coof does not exist.
It doesn't. I'm sorry, but I'm willing to say my opinion is very clear that it doesn't.
Oh, I agree with you, and I agree with this paper, which is a properly presented scientific medical paper.
Yep.
But if you do a search in Google, you can go 4, 5, 6 pages deep, and you will not find anything except fact checkers debunking that.
Listen.
And no, they're not debunking that particular paper. They're just debunking the phrase.
I'm sorry, but
it doesn't exist. It's censorship on a grand scale.
Yes,
really
it is, and the social media companies have a lot to answer for. They have a lot to answer for because they have actively suppressed science. They have actively suppressed data, facts, reality, in order to push certain narratives. And that's not just when it comes to the coof. That's not just when it comes to long coof. They want narratives to be permeated, and damn reality, damn what people go to. God knows how many people, myself included, who are banned from certain social media networks for speaking verifiable truth there are, right? God knows how many people who have been completely vindicated, I might add. So many people that were banned for things that are now accepted reality, by the way, in the mainstream, that don't get any restorative justice. They don't get their accounts back. They're still told they're permanently banned, despite the fact they were right all along. They told the truth. But it's because they are troublemakers. They are people that are counter-narrative. They are people that will never fall in line. And so, despite the fact they were right, and what they said is now accepted reality, the next narrative comes along, they're trouble again. So, they can't be. And that's all it is. And I think Elon Musk is now moving ahead with his Twitter purchase, by the way.
Oh,
So,
really? I hadn't really paid that much attention.
So tomorrow he will be appearing at the next Twitter all hands meeting for a Q&A session.
Oh, interesting.
So staff are submitting questions to him. I think that this purchase is probably back on track.
Jolly good, jolly good. Tomato flu. Have you heard about tomato flu?
I sort of heard of tomato flu, and then I saw it and I just went nope. And that was it.
So apparently there's an outbreak of tomato flu in Osaka in Japan.
Okay.
With 26 kids.
Yeah.
And there's an outbreak of tomato flu in India.
Okay.
And it just appears to be another lesion type, pustule. That's the word. It just appears to be another type, like another chickenpox.
Right.
They're just, the media are actively going out and searching.
So what's the problem?
There's no problem. That's the thing. There is no problem, because what's happening is the media are actively going out and searching for things that look like monkeypox, and then presenting them as if they're a problem, right? So it's basically mainstream media.
They're still trying
to up the narrative.
They're still trying to present the soon-to-be rebranded monkeypox as...
And who called it right? Who called it right? Huh?
You mean
we stand with the apes, didn't we?
If you go to the episode on the podcasts, we stand with the apes. And in fact, we all had a good laugh about that in the chat. We predicted this very thing would happen, and that is that, ladies and gentlemen, monkeypox is now racist, and the WHO will be renaming it. That is right. Monkeypox is now racist.
Discriminatory.
I don't know who it's racist and discriminatory against, but it is.
Well, my point was it was racist and discriminatory against the apes because they weren't monkeys.
I've just put you in big screen whilst I grip my teeth a bit because I just put my shoulders up and I really should not have done that.
No, you probably shouldn't have. So anyway, there we go. Right again. Speaking of death, anyway, speaking of death, Alex John Such of Bon Jovi has died suddenly and without prior illness. But he was 70, but even so, just another sudden death to join, dare I say it, a multitude of people that appear to be dropping dead suddenly and with no prior illness.
But I mean,
incredible ages.
If they're not dropping dead, they're experiencing other things. And there was a little clip of one of those other things in our the list video there. Now,
the Beepster.
We're gonna get there. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
But when John gave me this list video, I was looking at half of it, going, "What the fuck are we going to be talking about tonight?" I mean, before we get onto the Beepstar, I want to know what the Roblox video is about. There's a Roblox.
That was the Bacon Army.
Oh, that was the Bacon Army, was it?
Yeah, because see if you actually look at the list of the on the left hand side, and I know it goes quickly, but one of those things was called Bacon Army.
Oh, so it was just okay.
It's just an allusion to the Bacon Army. It's nothing to do with Roblox.
Okay, so let's move on to the Beepstar. Beep. All
right. Well, let's move on to the Beepstar. So, have you seen the sea shanty on Twitter?
No.
Oh, you have to look it up. It's tremendous. The Beepstar singing a sea shanty.
Yeah.
With an iPad. Somebody's made it up, but it is worth having a look at. It's really funny.
By George, she's got it, John.
Oh my God! It didn't take a long, did it? We're only an hour into the show.
We're only an hour into the show, and she has just got it. And for those listening on the podcast, our dear viewer Shalini has just said, "Oh, hang on, the video is the actual list." Oh, okay. Yeah, John's going to be making one of those before every show. And it's going to be different every time.
Yeah.
You're not a doofus.
Yeah.
You're not a doofus. You are wonderful, and we love you. Anyhow.
Yes.
The
Just a bit slow the
Beebster.
uptake tonight.
The Beebster,
The
also known
Beebster.
as Justin Bieber.
The Beebster's wife gets a blood clot in her brain.
I thought she got a bunch
Okay.
of blood clots. I thought it was more than one.
Well, but there were only little ones apparently, so that's all right then, yeah?
Yeah.
At the age of, what, 25?
Yeah.
Okay? No known reason. No known reason.
You know-
Doctors are baffled
No, they're
and
not.
mystified.
They're not baffled. They're not mystified. They're neither baffled.
Yes, they are. They're
No,
baffled
they're
and
not.
mystified.
No, they're not. Right? I'm sorry, but I will not say why, but they are lying. They are not baffled.
Say the line. Say the line, Ben. Say the line.
I can't say it too loudly because I'm in an accommodation block. But you know what it is.
You do.
You know what it is. And
you know what it is.
Was it Hailey Bieber? Is that her name? I think it might be.
Yeah, I think so.
To Hailey BB's, to the Beebster's wife's doctor. You're not baffled. You're not confused. You're bloody lying.
You're a liar.
You're a liar. Yeah.
You're a Tony Blyer.
In my opinion, in my opinion, for legal
Yeah.
reasons, because I don't want to get sued. But yeah, you're lying.
Anyway, well, nobody's going to sue. Well, you can sue us if you want, but you need to give us money first.
And you'll need to prove you're not lying, and that could be a problem.
That could be a problem. So the Beebster has what they call Ramsay Hunt syndrome, which to me looks exactly like Bell's palsy, which is a known adverse reaction to something.
No, because it
it
kind of looks like Bell's palsy, but in it, Bell's palsy doesn't. It's not as amusing for one. But
oh no, Bell's palsy can be really amusing. I've seen it. It affected the motorcycle sergeant when I was in the traffic.
Right,
It was fucking hilarious.
But also my
Because he had a face like a wasp, a bulldog chewing a wasp to start with. So when he came in,
was he? Did he
look like Desperate Dan?
I was gonna say, oh, Jesus Christ! Oh Jesus! But
it was a source of much amusement.
But anyway, Mr. Bieber has had to cancel tour dates and shows and stuff like that because he's got partial paralysis in his face, and
the problem is, he would have taken something to ensure he didn't need to cancel tour dates and stuff.
Yes.
Well, again, doctors are baffled because I think Ramsay Hunt's caused by the Zoriella virus or something like that. It's something to do with herpes or
just baffled
or something like that.
Baffled
and mystified.
But then again, at the same time, I could definitely see Justin Bieber having herpes. So there is that. I'm just saying.
No, you just wish it. That's just cruel. That's cruel. There's nothing wrong with the boy. He's a wholesome figure. Anyway. Right, moving on.
Moving on swiftly. We've only got 20 minutes left.
Carol asked Macron.
Right?
Oui. Macron.
Oui.
About the incidents of rapes and is it safe to be on the streets and things like that.
Oui.
And then this is an 18-year-old girl at school.
Oui.
Right? She asked them this at some kind of meeting, or not a meeting, some kind of public thing.
Oui.
And then she gets visited by the police who tell her she was out of order for asking him questions.
Oh no!
In school.
No.
She gets visited in school by the police who tell her you have overstepped the line. You should not be doing that.
You should not have asked.
What the fuck are the police got to do with it?
What the fuck have the police got to do with a lot of things lately? Anyway, you tell me, John.
France has fallen.
Oui. France has indeed fallen. You are not allowed to question Emperor Macron. Did I say Emperor? I mean President Macron.
I spit on you, Macron.
Sacre bleu!
Scum.
Sacre bleu! No. You ask if you are safe on the street. You do not ask the president if you are safe on the street. You are safe on the street until you are not safe on the street, and then we will cover it up. I mean, what?
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible, though.
And when something does happen, be it that or other things, or the French line is now mental illness. It was mental illness.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Regardless of where... carry on.
Cracking on, because we're on a time crunch.
We are.
Something else we were right about.
We're always right.
Now, I cannot pronounce it.
We're always right.
Let me just say, Russian Mucky D's.
Have they rebranded all of the restaurants and just selling the same food?
They've relaunched, rebranded, and a patron was heard to say, it tastes just exactly the same.
Do you think it's even still sort of backhandedly being handled by McDonald's?
No, probably not. No, I can't.
You just think they're just using the exact same suppliers' equipment? Yeah. The menu's probably exactly the same.
Everything McDonald's uses sourced locally, right?
I mean, I said they should have called it McRuskies, right? Or the Risky Burger.
Yeah, well, they should have. I mean, when you go for a Mucky D's in France, it's not the same as it is in Britain.
Now, the only thing
you go for a Mucky,
I was going to say the only thing that tastes the same
in America, it's not the same.
No, the Mucky D's in America tastes way nicer than it does here. But the only thing that I seem to find that are the same no matter where you go are the fries. The fries are always the same. They always taste the same.
Yeah, because that's the added sugar, isn't it?
Shalini says another prediction in the bag, chaps. Now imagine if...
How many times can we be right?
But imagine if we actually got paid for our ability to predict things, right? Imagine how rich we could be.
What was the one we got right today? I've forgotten about that one.
Well, it was the Monkeypox.
Remember?
I don't know. Did you send
me the rebranding Monkeypox?
Did you send me a message?
That's right, yeah, that was rebranding the Monkeypox. Yeah, when it was racist, the Monkeypox was racist. Yeah, so that's right.
Well done.
Right. Anyway, so Russian Mucky D's is exactly the same, and they showed you pictures of all the Russian people, and you saw some of them in the list as they were smiling away, ready to serve the patrons with their McRuskies.
With their McRusky, we are going to give you our Big Vlad. So they call it a Big Vlad instead of a Big Mac, right?
Yeah.
With our Vladimir Putin special sauce. It's just Big Mac sauce, but it's...
I don't know if I want Vlad's special sauce.
You'll definitely, if you do not eat and love Vlad's special sauce, you will go to Gulag, John. You will go to Gulag. You will not just eat Vlad's special sauce, you will tell the world how much better the McDonald's Vlad special sauce is.
Yeah.
And you will love it. You will love it so hard.
So, climate change, which is having a terrible effect on people dying at the moment. So climate change, the IPCC, that's the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change,
right,
puts out a report.
I know what you're going to say here.
Politicians object to the content of the report because it doesn't say enough about climate change.
Right, so basically this report says that the Earth isn't warming, right? It says
it hasn't since 1998.
But it says that
we knew that.
But it says that the Earth isn't warming, and so the politicians turn around. The politicians turn around and go, "Lads, you better chuck that in the bin." Because
this is the IPCC.
But
this is their fucking organization.
Listen. If we turn around and say that the Earth isn't warming, then all that shit that they've been electing us on for the last 20 years is absolute bollocks. We need to get elected.
And more than that, all
Mhm.
this green agenda is absolute
The
bollocks.
green levy, the duties, building these solar farms, these wind farms. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The IPCC say that the Earth isn't warming. Because
you know what? You might as well turn around, bend over, and get ready to listen for the.
Did you mute your mic?
No, it went chuff, because it's going to come and it's going to get you up the earth.
and just the designer, the creator, the person who administers it is not going to buy you dinner first. Not going to happen.
No, and if you're a man, I dare say you won't even have the decency of a reach around.
Not even tickling of the balls. Not even that.
Oh, that reminds me. The
Right.
Boys is on tonight. I look forward to that.
It's tomorrow.
Is it not tonight? I thought it was Wednesdays.
No, The Boys comes on Fridays even. Fridays. It's Obi-Wan on
Fridays?
Wednesdays.
Oh, that's pish.
It is pish. I watched episode 5.
Did you see the last? Did you see episode? I just saw episode 4. And
I just saw episode
oh, my
5 this
God.
morning.
Well, 4 was abysmal.
5's even worse. And I can already, right, I'm going to make a prediction. And I don't care if I accidentally spoil Obi-Wan Kenobi for you because it's a prediction, right?
I don't think you can at this point, mate.
But I'm going to make a prediction right now. That the Inquisitor chick, Reva, right? Yeah. The Inquisitor chick, Reva, is going to be the unsung hero of the show.
Oh, no doubt.
I think what's going to end up happening is, I think it was foreshadowed earlier in the season. I think she's going to end up discovering Luke Skywalker is on Tatooine, right, as a child. I think she's going to go there to be, harm him or hurt him or whatever, or reveal him to Vader.
Yeah.
And we know he doesn't get revealed to Vader because obviously we know what happens after.
We know.
I think Obi-Wan's going to convince her to do the right thing and just help the boy, and then she's going to be the unsung hero. I'm telling you, that is what the ending of episode 6 is going to be. And then she's probably going to go after Darth Vader, and she's going to end up dead herself because she can't kill Darth Vader because we know what happens after that. That's what really pisses me off about prequel series and prequel shows. There can be no stakes. You can't put Obi-Wan in a position where will he or won't he die? You can't put Darth Vader in a position of will he.
I mean, that's that. They throw Obi-Wan into a burning pool of fire, and you think, well, he's going to be all right.
He's going to be fine.
He turns up in A New Hope, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's going to be fine.
Which is, to me, is always the first one.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. And that's the problem with these prequel shows. These people, these prequel shows, if they're about legacy characters, I would say. You could make a prequel show like The Mandalorian, which is kind of not a prequel show. It sits in between episode Return of the Jedi and episode 7. So it sits in that gap in between those. But because there aren't really legacy characters in them, even though it's a prequel to the episode 7, 8, and 9 trilogy, there aren't really legacy characters in them. So you can do what you want. You can put stakes on your characters, and you can put them in situations. But when you make a prequel show about legacy characters, which you know are fine 20, 30 years down the line, there can be no stakes. There can't. And that's
the show that really broke the mold for me was Game of Thrones.
Well, yeah, because it made you love a character and then just sort of killed him. It was great. And then the final
killed Jon Snow.
And then the final season happened, and what a load of shite that was. What a load of absolute shite that was. They really didn't.
George didn't write it, did he?
No, they did not stick the landing on the final season of Game of Thrones at all.
See, that's the problem. I mean, it wasn't. It was okay. It was okay, right? But it wasn't great.
No, it wasn't okay. It was awful. It was awful.
Anyway,
Everybody was
she got her
phoning it
just
in.
desserts. She had to get her just
Yeah, but
desserts.
everybody was phoning it in at that point when it came from performance to direction to everything. Everyone was phoning it in. They didn't want to be there.
It was such a good series before that.
It was
such a good series. See the one when the guy goes in to get the chicken.
You know, the Starks were supposed to have southern accents, right? So the Starks were supposed they were supposed to have southern accents. They were supposed to sound like Kit Harington does in real life. And they were on set, and they said, listen, the reason they're Northerners is because they were on set and they turned around to Sean Bean and they said to him, you need to do a southern accent. He went, fuck that. And so everyone had to do Sean Bean's accent rather than Sean Bean having to do everyone else's accent.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Well,
anyway, right,
Sean Bean can only play Sean Bean.
Yeah, well, yeah, like Liam Neeson can only play Liam
Nicolas Cage can only play Nicolas Cage.
And I watched The Unbearable Weight of
Massive talent.
What
a film!
Right, yeah. Oh no, I didn't have a. It was okay.
I got the big screen experience in a private box, and I tell you what, I don't
even need the big screen.
Yeah, but I had a whale of a time.
It's not the kind of movie that. It's not the kind of movie that rewards a big screen experience, is it?
Well, maybe not, but I had a whale of a time. I was all by myself. Yeah. I was in a private box. I was watching Nicolas Cage be Nicolas Cage.
Box of tissues, sir. So I'm going to have to go to the pictures to see Maverick or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think we're both going to have to. And with 10 minutes left of this show, how long have we got left on the list?
We've got about a quarter left.
I don't think we're getting through that. So pick a couple of your favourites.
Well, they might get through it. Trudeau test positive again. After having a meeting unmasked with Biden and holding Nancy Pelosi's hand. Did you see him? Did you see him holding her hand?
Right, so we're going to try and rush through these last list items. We're going to try and make a laugh out of them. Right, so Justin Trudeau has tested positive again after meeting unmasked with Joe Biden. Like I say, holding Nancy Pelosi's hand, flying home unmasked, flying back unmasked, you know. And then all of a sudden, I think his hypocrisy, the amount of times he's broken the rules, I think it was one too many, because all of a sudden mandates are being dropped in Canada, left, right and centre. Unvaccinated Canadians can now leave the country. They can do international travel, but unvaccinated us can't fly into there. But
no, and we still can't go to the US.
Still can't go to the US, and I don't know when we will be able to.
Requirements.
I don't know. I don't know when we will be able to.
Fuck them, I say.
But Justin Trudeau is a hypocrite. He's a liar. Germany?
Yep. Germany. Spain wanted to give 40 Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine because he's finished with them secondhand. And this is going back to last show, remember?
Yep.
When I said everybody wants to give shit to Ukraine for them to get rid of in the Putin war, so they can buy nice shiny new kit and they don't have to get rid of the old stuff.
Yes.
But Germany has said no, you will not be giving them our tank because obviously Germans make Leopard 2 tanks. And why would that be? Because the Germans don't want to get cut off from the gas. And that's also why they've not nationalized the German Gazprom. They've left it in the hands of Gazprom Russia.
This doesn't shock me. This doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form.
And of course, Russia has made an extra 20 billion in the last month on its sales of gas and oil.
Doesn't shock me.
Who are these? Just remind me, who are these sanctions actually affecting?
Everyone else.
Yeah. Well, they're being blamed for affecting everyone else, but they're not really. They're not affecting anyone.
Well, no, not really. But the only reason that the economic destruction happening across the West right now is happening is because of the last 2 years of economic closure. And that's not up. I'm sorry, but that's not up for debate. I will not debate that. It is nothing to do with Russia. It is nothing to do with Ukraine. It is everything to do with the policies of the governments that close down your economies. And if you don't believe that, I can't help you. Let's move on.
Moving on, China has pulled the switch, haven't they?
Right.
So China has they stopped giving out cash because they were worried that the money was infected with.
So they lied. Yeah.
So they lied. So they stopped giving out cash.
Yep.
People started getting pissed off because they couldn't get cash. Then there was a big protest
Yep.
planned, and they stopped it. How did they stop it? They turned everyone's COVID pass red. So they weren't allowed to use public transport. They weren't allowed to be in public places. They weren't allowed to. They basically weren't allowed to do anything, or they would get arrested. They just turned their passes red, and no protest occurred.
Wow.
Coming to a nation near you soon.
Well, that's if you actively ever allow them to reinstall something like that into our societies again. At this particular point in time, we have seen the job advertisement for the deputy director COVID pass or whatever be removed. They're saying they're not hiring that position anymore. The job ad's gone. Now, hopefully that is true, and hopefully we can hold them to that. I don't think we can. I don't think we can hold them to anything, but never allow such a control system to permeate your society. Never. It's not good. It's not for your own good. It's not for your own safety. It's to control you. And so you need to do everything you can to actively resist such a thing. Chicken.
So feed your chicken cannabis, right? Because it does better on cannabis than it does on antibiotics. They're stronger, healthier, and live longer.
Okay. John?
Stoned chicken.
John, if I get a chicken or if I get any chickens, I will feed it cannabis. Move on.
The next one is strapedectomy.
What?
Strapedectomy. I'm trying to say it very quickly. And well, can I just say Christina Aguilera? Strapedectomy?
Yes, Christina Aguilera dressed up as what could only be described as a very, very pornographic Hulk. She dressed up with a green
family. Yeah, for a family-friendly show. Family-friendly, my ass.
Yeah, Christina Aguilera played live at LA Pride this week, and she was wearing a green glittery phallus. A rather large green glittery phallus with balls. Yep, balls were included for a show that tickets were sold to ages 5 and up. That's right.
Yep.
Tickets were sold for ages 5 and up. Now,
again, can I refer you to our last show where we discussed the decadence that's increasing in this as we approach the end times?
Well, the thing is, I've got no problem with the concept of pride, right? I've got no problem with the concept of pride at all. If you want to be proud of who you are and you want to express that you're proud of your sexuality, you go right ahead. But when it's arseless chats in the street, simulated sex in the street, and Christina Aguilera doing this in front of children, all of this in front of children, by the way, that's not pride in your sexuality. That is simply debauchery. That is simply debauchery. And there's a big difference between the two. You want to have a pride parade, you want to walk down the road saying, I am this sexuality and I am proud, all power to you. But if you want to start doing that and getting children to put money in your underwear and things like that, no, that's not pride. That's not pride. That is grooming. That is grooming. I'm going to use that term.
That is grooming.
And
moving on?
No, I'm not moving on. No, I'm not moving on. And the reason I'm not moving on is because I want to put something to the chat right now. In 7 weeks' time, Christina Aguilera is playing Brighton Pride, which is just a 40-minute drive from my home. And if I put up a little crowdfunder for a ticket to go and cover it live to see what happens there, who would want to chip in? Because I'll make that video if you guys want me to. So that's just putting something out to you. Because it's only a 40-minute drive from my home, I'll be quite happy to do that and see if she's got the message. So we will see. Anyway, yes, moving on.
Right, moving on. Forbes.
Right.
Forbes, the renowned magazine, has an article in it this week that says you must not do your own research when it comes
To the coof?
Medical matters.
Yes, you should.
Yeah.
Yes, you should. And
I know you should, but Forbes say you must not when it comes to science because.
Listen to me. And that's very dangerous.
Hold on.
It's very dangerous.
But Ben, the science.
The science, ladies and gentlemen. Let us pray.
Science is all prevailing.
With 3 minutes left of the show, let us pray. Despite the fact that some people who do their
prevailing.
Listen, despite the fact that some people do their own research and prove that the science and diagnosis of them is entirely wrong and would have ended up getting them killed. I mean, this happens. This happens more often than you would think as well. A second opinion. Mm-hmm. You go and get a second opinion because you've done your own research and the things that they're saying don't add up to, or tally up to what you think is wrong. And a lot of the time, these people that go for a second opinion are very often right. Okay? So
the fourth biggest killer in the world is prescription medicines.
And probably, do you know what I reckon? I wouldn't know where it lies, but I would reckon that quite a lot of people die from incorrect diagnoses.
Oh yeah. Well, when I say prescription medicine, I also mean medical mishaps and things like that.
Yeah, medical negligence, medical malfeasance, mistakes. Yep. Okay, yes, you should do your own research on absolutely anything and everything because medical practitioners, scientists, doctors, nurses, these people are not infallible. They can and do get things wrong. You need to make sure you're comfortable and happy.
Remember, they reckon 5 years after a doctor graduates, 50% of what he was taught is wrong. The problem is they don't know what 50%.
Precisely, and on that note, John, I think...
Moving on, last item.
Last item. Come on, we got 1 minute left.
EasyJet. Captain collapses in the toilet.
I did not know this.
Because he was worrying about climate change. That's the official line. Captain collapses in toilet. Plane has to make emergency landing because the captain worried about climate change.
No. Stop the world. No. That's not true, and you know what it is.
You know what it is.
You know what it is. And John, before I quickly cue up the outro, it is time to say goodbye and to sell us to these wonderful people and apologize that we're ending so abruptly. But I want to thank you all because it's been a hell of a week for me, right? It's been a hell of a week for me. And I was in no position to do Sunday's show, and I apologize for that. I do. I know it was no fault of my own, but I do apologize. And also, I've been very, very shaky and hesitant to do tonight's show, in fact. And the reason is that I was worried about what I might spout out and say. But we have talked, and John thinks I should keep quiet for now for legal reasons. A lot of people do know what's happened, but it's just not something I'm willing to or ready to talk about publicly. And when we get the result that we want / need, then I think we will talk more out loud about it. So thank you very much for sticking with us and coming back to see us, despite the fact that we didn't even tell you we weren't going live. We couldn't.
No. So, one and all, thank you for attending this episode 96 on the road to 100. From me, the man in the van, hunkering in the bunker. From Ben, in his undisclosed holiday retreat high in the Alps. No, sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
On a coast. We'll say on a coast, yeah. We're on a coast.
Anyway, yeah, he's on a coaster.
I mean, I am okay, Shalini. I mean, I'm not okay. I'm not, but I am okay, right? But, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But if you want to support us in any way, shape, or form.
That's what I was just going to say. But yeah, if you wish to support us, then please feel free to indulge us on patreon.com/chasingdissent or on subscribestar.com/chasingdissent from as little as a teeny tiny measly £1 a week.
Or if you're watching on
Larger
Twitch,
donations,
you could
gratefully accepted.
I was going to say, or if you're watching on Twitch, you could always sub to the channel, which you can do for free if you have an Amazon Prime account, right? If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can sub for free, and it gives us a couple of quid a month. Gives us a couple of quid a month. It doesn't cost you anything. You just got to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account and sub to our channel. And it costs you nothing. If you've not done it to another channel already, that is. But we'd appreciate that also. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I have indeed queued up the outro. And I want to thank you once again. And it's goodbye from me.
And it's good night from me.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.